In the name of Allah, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. This is Fahad Ali al-Shihri. We have a review of module 1 and 2, just part A. The English is for this first secondary stage, second term. For this lesson, student will be able to recall some information about module 1 and 2. So we want to remember and to have a quick review about some parts of these two modules. The content will be about vocabulary, grammar, speaking, and writing. Phrasal verb. What is the meaning of phrasal verb? It consists of a verb and adverb and or one or more prepositions. So it could be verb and adverb, or it could be verb with one or more prepositions. The meaning of phrasal verb is different from the meaning of verb it includes. So the verb itself, it has a meaning, but when we put it with a preposition or adverb, it will have another meaning, or it will have another meaning. For example, we have run. You can see here, run, it's like when you move faster than walk. And we have the other one is out. So out, like this ocean, it's out of this place. So you can see it. These are the meanings of these two. But when we put these two together, it will be a phrasal verb. Let's take it. Run out of. So what is the meaning of run out of? It's not the same meaning as these two pictures. It's not like running outside. It all has another meaning or different meaning, which is like no more left. Like for this example and this picture, it means like no more pills. Let's take this practice or this exercise. Match between the phrasal verb and their meanings. So we have hang on, be booked up, run out of, take away, get over. Hang on, mostly we use it with a phone call, like when we want someone to wait. So it will be C, wait. Be booked up, if you like call to have an appointment or to make an appointment, and then there is no availability. This is what we, the response will be like we booked up, so there is no time available. Run out of, we already had it. Take away, when you want to take away something, like you want to disappear. For example, this smiley face, when I want to take it away, like this, it will just disappear. So B, make something disappear, like the smiley face. Get over, when you get over something, like healing, like in health part or health section. So it will become better. For example, after an illness, like after if you be sick or something and you get over it, so you become better. Grammar, we have infinitives. So what is the meaning of infinitives? Infinitive, the basic form of a verb. This is the meaning of infinitive. The basic form, like for example here we have go, went, and gone. This one in present tense, past tense, and past participle. The basic form of the verb is go. So I underlined it to make it clear for you. This is the meaning of infinitive. We have two parts of infinitives. We have full infinitive and pair infinitive. You will take both of them. So the first one, we use the full infinitive. Full infinitive, it means to have two plus the base form of the verb. Like go, for example, this is the base form of the verb. So we use the full infinitive for to express purpose, to give the reason. Like for example, I'm going to the supermarket. So why? To get some fruit. So we used here full infinitive to talk about the reason. After certain verbs, after these verbs like want, would like, would love, and etc. I haven't managed to find it yet. So we have manage here and then we used the full infinitive. After it plus be plus the adjective. So for example, it's difficult to explain, so we used the full infinitive here because it and verb be. After certain adjectives, after these adjectives like afraid, surprised, free, and etc. Are you afraid to ask him? So after afraid we have the to and then the base form of the verb. After to and enough. For example, you are too young to stay, so we used full infinitive. I'm strong enough to carry the box. After question words like who, how, what. For example, do you know how? After how we use the full infinitive to get. The second part, the pair infinitive. The pair infinitive we use the base form but without to. No to here. We just use the same verb. So we use this after modal verbs like can, could, will. For example, could you give me a glass of water? So we use give without to. This is the pair infinitive. After the verbs let and make. So after these two verbs, we just use the pair infinitive. She makes me study all the time. Here, after makes. Note, we can use the verb help with these two. So we can use it with a full infinitive or pair infinitive. For example, I always help my brother do. Here in pair infinitive, we didn't use to. Or I always help my brother to do. So here we use the full infinitive. So help, you can use it with both of them. The verb after it or the sentence, the verb after it, yes, we'll use both of them. Practice. Let's practice this question. So for the first one, for example, it's a complete the dialogue. The dialogue, it's like the conversation. Dialogue means conversation with the full or pair infinitive of the verbs between brackets, like this: make, help, make, do, bring, and etc. So what are you trying to make? So here we use the full infinitive because it comes after try. The second one, really, will you let me help? Why? Because it comes after let. After let, then we use the pair infinitive. Sure, do you know how to make a cake? We used to make because it comes after the question. After the question, we use the full infinitive. Just tell me what. This one the same as the one before, the previous one. So we used the full infinitive to do. And the last one we have could you. Could is modal verb, and after modal verb we just use the pair infinitive without to. So we just put bring here. Speaking. How to make a doctor's appointment. This one just like an example. So you can do another scenario, you can use other phrases, but this one is just one example. For example, here we have Ali, who is sick, as you can see here. Maybe he has a high temperature, sneezing, coughing. So what is the meaning of sneezing? By the way, it's this sound. As you can listen here. So let's take this example. After he like, because he is sick, he wants to get an appointment or to make an appointment with the doctor to go and examine himself. So when we call, when he calls, the receptionist will answer the call, and maybe it will say, she will say, or he will say, good morning or good afternoon. It depends on the time, and then he or she will mention the clinic name. How can I help you? This is the question. The patient, who is Ali, in our situation here or in our example. Hello, my name is Ali. I would like to make an appointment with the doctor for today or tomorrow. It depends. Like if you're asking about today or tomorrow or any other day. Receptionist, so Mr. Ali, what seems to be the problem? What is the problem with you? What is the symptoms, like high temperature, sneezing, or any other things? Patient, Ali, I have a headache, runny nose, and I keep sneezing. As we had before, the sneezing. Receptionist, okay, the doctor is available at, and maybe he or she will mention the time. Or maybe the other response will be, I'm afraid he or she, the doctor, I mean, is booked up, like there is no availability. Grammar ing form. How to use the ing form. We use the ing form after certain verbs like love, like, hate, enjoy, prefer, suggest, and etc. After this, we just add the ing form. For example, here, I like listening, so we added ing to listen after like. The second one, after certain expression, after certain expressions. For example, don't mind, can't stand, be interested in, it's worth, how about, and etc. So we have this example, I look forward to seeing you. So forward here, and then we add ing to the verb after. After prepositions, prepositions like about or by. I'm so excited about, and then going. We add ing after the preposition. As a subject. So what is the meaning of a subject? It's the part of the sentence that indicate what it is about or who or what performed the action, who is doing the action. For example, here, smoking is a bad habit. So because smoking is a subject here, we add ing. Let's take this example or this exercise. So it's clearly that we will add ing for all of this, but we will take the reasons behind adding ing. So for the first one, how about lighting a fire? We add ing because it comes after how about. As you can see it here, after certain expressions, how about. The second one, we add ing for to make, like making, because it's as a subject of a verb. The last one, using, we add ing here because it comes after the proposition. After the proposition. Here we have about, here we have by. Vocabulary. So let's read this before and then we can match between these words and their meanings. Nowadays, lots of people suffer from. Suffer from, when you suffer from something that you have this, you have pain of it or something like that, and it's bad. It's bad to control. When you control something, you do something or change it. Some find that talking to a friend helps them to reduce. Reduce, it's like make something less, reduce stress. Number 2, my younger daughter has a fear of, when you have a fear of something, you scared about it. The dark and can't sleep at night. How should I deal with? What do I have to do? Like something I have to do to solve this problem. What do you advise me? What do you have a recommendation, a specific recommendation to make for this situation? So the first one, suffer from. When you suffer from something, you have or you feel pain or distress. So the first one is F. Control. When you control something, you have the ability or power to make something. So number 2 is E. Reduce, to make something less, as we had here before. So it's D, make it smaller in size or amount or less in degree. A fear of. A, be afraid of or be scared of something. Deal with, to do something about, like to change it or anything like that. Advice, C, to give someone a recommendation about what should be done about a specific situation. Grammar, we have should and had better. Should and should not. So we use should or should not plus the pair infinitive. The pair infinitive, it means the basic form of the verb, like the previous verb that we had, go, went, and gone, and we chose go because it's the basic form of the verb. So we use should or should not to ask for and give advice. When you ask, like you have a problem or something and you ask for advice, or someone else asks you about an advice. For example, should I stay or should I go? You're asking for advice, for an advice. Express an opinion. So you have opinion and you want to talk about it, like he should tell his father about it. This the example. Make a suggestion. When you suggest something, like shouldn't we discuss it with the boss first? So this is a suggestion. Express mild obligation. So like your friend and you want to advise him to do something, but you can't like make him to do it. For example, you should go to work on time because you are not like his boss. You just advise him because you are his or her friend. Should and should not plus the pair infinitive refers to the present or future. So this is the tense that we should use it. We use should or should not just for the present or future. So we don't use this for the past tense. Had better. Had better, mostly it's like must. So we use had better plus the pair infinitive, the basic form of the verb, to give strong advice. To give strong advice. So this one is just an advice, but this one is strong advice. It's like must. It often expresses threat or warning. There is a threat or warning, and it's stronger than should. Stronger than should here. It refers to the present or future, like this one. The tense, it's just about the present or future, not the past. So we are not talking about the past. If we use had better, its negative form is had better not. If you want to make it negative, we just add not after had better. In spoken English, the short form is commonly used had better, like this, a written way, or in spoken way, you had better, etc. You had better ask a doctor about it. It's the same meaning of you must ask a doctor about it. Let's take this practice of this exercise. Read the situations and the prompts. These are the situations. We have two, and the prompts here, which help us to answer it. And write sentences giving advice. So we need to give an advice. Maybe it's strong or just mild. So if it's strong, we have to use had better or had better not. But if it's just like an advice, we just use should or should not. The first one, Julia has a high temperature. As you can see here from the picture, she has a high temperature. We have C and doctor. Because she is sick, so we need to use had better. But eating chocolate, this is not a good advice. So she shouldn't eat a chocolate. So the answer will be she had better see a doctor. And for the second one, she shouldn't eat chocolate. For the second situation here, Ali suffers from stomach ache. As you can see here in the picture, we have to eat too much and stay home. So he shouldn't eat too much because he has a stomach ache. And he had better stay home because he is sick. You can see it here. Speaking and writing. We have these two parts. So if we want to ask for advice or give advice, we have two ways. The first one, for asking for advice, we can use this one actually in speaking or writing. Sometimes you can change some forms to make it fit for your needs. For example, the first one, I have a problem and I would like your advice. So you ask in here for an advice. I hope you can help me with a problem, and then you explain your problem and etc. For giving advice, if someone else asks you about a problem or your advice, you can use this. Excuse me. I hope my advice will help you. So here maybe you already gave him or her your advice. In my opinion, you should not or should or had better, and then you will tell him or her about your advice. I advise you to, and then you will tell him like your solution and etc. Passive voice. Passive voice, we use it with present simple and past simple. So why we use the passive voice? What is like the goal behind using the passive voice? The first one, to emphasize the action rather than who or what is responsible for it. So we just like focusing on the action itself. For example, we will take the example later. The second one, when the agent is unknown. The agent, it's like the subject, and we don't know who is doing that. So the first example is, my car was repaired by our neighbor. My car was repaired by our neighbor. So who is doing that? Is our neighbor who repaired the car. So because of that we use the passive voice, because we care more about the action. When the agent is unknown, like we don't know who do it or who did it. His house was broken into last night. So someone got into the house and maybe stole things, but we don't know who is it or who is that person. We use the passive voice. The structure. We have the active voice. So the active voice, it's the regular sentence. It consists of subject, verb, and object. For the passive voice, it consists of subject plus be. It's based on the sentence, if it's in the present or in the past, and we will take two examples. And then the main verb, past participle. So we have present, past, and this one, the third part, which is past participle, plus the agent. The agent, it's in the subject and the active voice. The first example. This one is just a regular sentence. It's in present tense. Millions of people watch the Champions League. So we have the subject, verb, and the object. Here in passive voice, when we change it, the subject will be the Champions League, because this is what we care about, the object here. Then as we used as, because the sentence here in present tense. Then the main verb, which is in past participle, because if the past ending with ed, the past participle will end. We will use the same verb. And then the agent, who did it by millions of people. This in present tense. In past, this one is just regular sentence. Millions of people watched the Champions League. This one in past tense. So if we want to make it in passive voice, the Champions League was. So we changed the verb be, because the first one, it's in the past. Watched, the past participle, and by millions of people, the agent here, who was the subject in the previous sentence. Practice. Complete the present simple passive or the past simple passive of the verbs in practice. So we need to use the verb be, and then we have to change these verbs into the past participle. For the first one, like every year, since it's every year, that means it's present, so we use as and then the past participle of organize. The second one, the furniture. The furniture to our house last Saturday. Last Saturday, that means in the past tense. So we used was delivered. My friend Salim buy a car, but luckily so that means all this situation, it happened in the past because we already know about something else after this happened. So was hit and then was not injured, because here there is not, so we need to add not after verb be. The last one, nowadays. Because we have nowadays, that means in present. So is or are used, because this one mobiles in plural. Linking word. Linking word help you to connect ideas and sentences when you speak or write English. So these linking words are very important. We have as soon as, when, before, as, because, while, but, and so. So as soon as something will happen immediately after something else has happened. So we're linking two things at the same time. When, at, or during the time, at the same maybe time. Before, sequencing ideas. So if we want to say like first, before, after. As, it means because when you want to give a reason why you're doing this or that or asking or etc. While, contrasting ideas, like if you have two different ideas, you can use while, but it's the same. So to give a result, so there is like an action or something, and then you want to talk about the result. Let's take this example. Before we went out, we had a dinner. So we used before here to sequence our action. Like we had a dinner first, and then we went out. Muhammad took a taxi to work because he was late. So why what's the reason of taking the taxi, or took the taxi? Because he was late. Here we are talking about the reason. Module number 2, vocabulary. We have these words like kick here in like soccer or football. Pass, when you give your like teammates the ball. Dribble, like when you're moving behind or like moving between the other team. Hit, it's like when you hit the ball in tennis. Throw, when you throw the ball like the goalkeeper. Catch, it's the same when the goalkeeper is catching the ball. And the last one, score, like when you score a goal in soccer maybe or other sports. Grammar, may, might, and could. The verbs may, might, and could are followed by the base form of the verb. So we use the present form, the present tense form. We don't have to use the past or the past participle. Are the same on all persons, in the singular and plural. So it's the same if you use it for the singular or plural, for one person or 100. Don't form the questions and negative forms with do. So we just add not after this, and this is how we make the negative form. Express possibility in the present or future. So if you are not sure about something, we use this, like we may or might, could go to the park next week. So we are not sure about it. But if we use not, like may not or might not or could not, this will reduce like the possibility in the present or future. For example, like if you say like we may go to the park next week, that means like maybe 50% that we will go. But if you say like we may not go to the park, that means like maybe mostly you are not going to the park. Here another two examples. Tim wants to play golf, but it's a bit cold outside. So Tim may not or might not play golf. Why? Because it's a bit cold outside. Hussein is thinking of taking a French class, so he's not sure about it. Hussein may or might, could take a French class. This is the end of our lesson today. Keep up the good work and good luck. Thank you.